Welcome to the Meat Mistress podcast. I'm your host, Emma Butler, and this is my audio diary of life on the farm as a full-time farmer, wife, and mother, not always in that order. And I also own and operate a butcher shop. Thank you for giving me a few minutes of your time as I chat all things farming, small business, and more. I just wanted to jump on and tell you really quickly the story of the snake. Let's just dive in. Let me set the scene for you. So you're standing at the bottom of the hill, and beside you, there is a snake. He's a very sweet snake, very persuasive. The kind of snake that seems to always talk you into something, whether you want to do it or not. So you look down at the snake, and the snake looks up at you, and the snake says, "Can you carry me to the top of the hill? It's a long ways up, and I don't think that I can make it." And you say back to the snake, "But you're a snake. I don't want you to bite me." The snake looks back at you and says, "I promise you, I won't bite you. Just put me in your pocket and carry me to the top of the hill. And I promise I won't bite you." So you pick up the snake and you put him in your pocket. And you climb and climb and climb to the top of that hill, and it's been raining and the hill is slippery, and you struggle and you're muddy, and you get to the top of the hill and you feel so accomplished. You made it. You did it. You climbed the hill all the way to the top despite all of the challenges. You reach down into your pocket, and that snake bites your hand. You pull your hand back out of your pocket, and the snake sticks his head out. And you say, "Why did you bite me? You promised that you wouldn't." And the snake looks you in the eye and says, "You knew that I was a snake when you picked me up." Right. Ooh, the story of the snake. The story of the snake has resonated with me since I heard it probably 5 years ago or 6 years ago. I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about the story of the snake. And it's kind of one of those, old wives' tales, father passing this story down to their children. And the story of the snake just really hit home for me. So what the story of the snake is about is obviously it's a metaphor. If you didn't pick that up, it is a metaphor of not carrying people with you through your life that are not going to serve you. The story of the snake is about following your intuition and your best judgment, what is in your head and what is in your heart, and really deciphering those that are worth keeping in your life, that add value, that bring you joy, and letting go of those people that give you the willies right off the bat. So I'm sure you've encountered it. I have definitely encountered it in my own life. People that you don't even know off the bat if you can't trust them, but there's something about them. You meet that person and you're like, they're great, but... Or, they're smart, but they're creative, but there's a person with an aura around them, and the aura is but. And it makes you question your relationship with them, and that can be a superficial one. It could be, just a brief interaction. Maybe that person is your best friend's work friend. You know what I mean? Like that kind of relationship where it's maybe a little bit distant. This person's not in your life. Or this can be full-blown someone that you have let into your life. Maybe it's a partner. Maybe it's a love interest. Maybe it's a situationship. Maybe it's a girlfriend or a friend, anybody that you've let into your life. And you've always kind of had that in the back of your mind of, I really like them. Maybe they're really pretty. Maybe they're charismatic. Maybe they're smart. Maybe they're accomplished. Maybe they have cool stuff. I don't know. You're drawn to them, but in your heart, you have this thing where you're like, I don't know about them. So the story of the snake is, you knew this was a snake when you picked it up. It's not the snake's fault. The snake knows it's a snake. The snake is liable to bite. It's a snake. You still chose, knowing what you know about the snake, to pick them up. So how this can relate back to your life and how this metaphor has been so impactful in my life is, after hearing this story, I kind of just take it back to, I do know it's a snake. I maybe shouldn't have picked it up. So when I come across people in my life that give me that weird feeling that, I don't know about them, I'm not going to carry them. I'm not going to put them in my pocket and take them to the top of the hill. I'm not going to struggle and strife and take them along for the ride to get to the top to be bit by them. And I have had to do this in my personal life with close friends or people at the time that I thought were close friends. I've had to do this with people that were my family. And it's a weird construct to try to explain to someone that doesn't get it, to somebody, maybe on the outside that hasn't experienced this yet. I hope that you don't experience this if you haven't. But again, it's kind of one of those things that it makes or breaks you. It adds a little bit of character. It's another thing that you have to navigate. And I just wanted to come on and tell you the story of the snake because I heard it, and it's a nugget of wisdom that I carried with me. And I've kept it in the back of my mind of, you knew I was a snake when you picked me up. Because that is on me. That is a conscious decision that I make to carry someone or something through my life, through all of the challenges, to get to that pinnacle moment of, reward, or I made it, I did it, yes. And you look to that person that you've been carrying and they're not excited, or they're not supportive, or they're not there, or they bite you. I know that this is a quick one, but I wanted to come on. I had to tell you the story of the snake. I had to hear it for myself because there's been moments in my life recently where I have had snakes come into my life, or I've been presented with people that are like the snake. The snake is beautiful. The snake is colorful. The snake is smooth and is exactly the type of person that I would be initially attracted to in terms of, emotional connection and business savviness and everything else. But I knew they were a snake when I picked them up. I'm going to leave you with that. I hope that this impacts you and you don't feel like I'm a total dork, but if you think I'm a dork for it, that's fine. I will own my dorkiness. The story of the snake is important, and I hope that you hear it and you listen to it and it gives you that kind of imagery, and you can take it through the next steps of your life and you can implement that. The story of the snake. Just remember, you know that they are a snake when you pick them up. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate your time. Maybe I'll do some more storytelling because this was fun. This was very sit around a campfire and chat. I thank you again for following along here on the Meat Mistress podcast. You can also check me out on Instagram at J&E Meats if you want to hear more. I'm always in the stories talking and telling jokes and spooky stories, and of course, sharing my dorkiness. I will talk to you very soon. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Meat Mistress podcast. I'm your host, Emma Butler. I've really enjoyed chatting with you. Thanks for listening. I can't wait to see you back here again. If you'd like to keep up with all things happening J&E Meats, which is our farm store and butcher shop, you can find us over on Instagram at J&E Meats and on Facebook as well too. I will talk to you again very soon.